Superman should have the red briefs, the costume looks ugly without it, and I also feel that way about the black briefs on Batman. It's an aesthetic change, it doesn't really matter, but it bugs me in the New 52 look, and it really bugs me here.
Most of the redesigns were pretty bland anyway, or made with the mindset of a 14-year-old boy who wants to pretend they're more mature than they are. Adding unnecessary lines to outfits, Superman losing his red trunks and throwing off the entire design aesthetic of the costume.
No, it doesn't make a lot of logical sense as a clothing item, but neither does the giant-ass cape, and by the way, this character can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes because the sun is yellow, unless he's within certain distance of a magical green space rock, so I don't give a shit what makes logical sense. From a pure design standpoint, having all the other colors concentrated up here around the chest and shoulders, and then just a big long stretch of blue down to the calves looks off-putting and unnecessarily inhuman, which is both wrong for the character and why it was a good design decision when they used it for Eradicator Superman in the comics.
An unintentional side effect of the lack of color balance that helped emphasize a strong man torso ended up making him look slimmer and, well, not as powerful.
That lack of visual definition I was talking about caused when Superman no longer has the extra patch of red at his midsection. It looks even worse when the solid colors aren't all that solid.
As a result, in an effort to still make him look intimidating, anytime he needed to be threatening, just make his eyes glow red with heat vision. Huzzah! Now instead of physically intimidating, he's just another guy who can shoot lasers. And, you know, glowing red eyes is usually a sign of a villain. Brilliant!
By the way, you do know why superheroes created in the Golden Age tended to wear their briefs like this, right? I mean, technically it's because Superman did it and everyone copied him, but the genesis of that was actually to communicate an immediate sense of strength and agility to audiences by drawing on real-world visual references, specifically to acrobats, stunt performers, and circus strongmen, the most widely familiar archetype and reference point for this person performs extreme physical feats available to readers in the 1930s and 40s. You see, the textile industry of the era hadn't quite advanced elastic fabric to the extent we have today, so while such athletes and performers still favored stretchy tights as a compromise between external comfort and muscle flexibility, they were always concerned about the prospect of that fabric tearing if overextended, especially in the crotch area. So it was very common for strongmen and acrobats, particularly men, to put on a pair of briefs over their tights so if they ripped, there was an extra layer of clothing keeping their junk from flopping out in front of everybody. P.S. Copying the costuming of performance athletes like this is also probably why it seemed like such a no-brainer for these guys to wear capes, which professional wrestlers and stage athletes often wore in order to be identifiable by those sitting further away from the action.